Hello, everybody, and welcome to our podcast of Parenting Diaries. Today, we have with us Prakriti Prasad, who has 24 years of journalist experience with multiple seven publications. She's also a published author of a book called Parenting. Today, she's a well known parent coach and a wellness mentor and conducts workshops across schools, colleges, and corporates. The reason why we have invited her to this platform is along with her achievements, she's beautifully brought up two lovely children who have balance of extracurricular activities and academics. Her daughter has done double majors in Ashoka University. She is a professional ODC dancer and also a published author. Her son is also preparing for board exam and also an avid keyboard player. So let's welcome Prakriti to the stage and hear her inspiring story. Hello, Prakriti ma'am. So, thank you so much for joining with us. Today, we are going to have you in our podcast called Parenting Diaries. And I'm sure there are so many parents waiting to hear from you and getting inspired.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad to be here with you.
Sure. All right. So, as we start, the question is the first thing which I would like to know is Prakriti, is there any special quality or talent that you admire in your children and you're proud to call it out?
So, there are a few qualities that I really admire in my children. One is that they will not lie, come what may. Another thing is about cheating, and it gives me immense satisfaction that they will not cheat. And they're very particular about that. But something which actually touches me and makes me really feel proud, especially about my daughter, is the fact that she's extremely respectful towards the helps, towards domestic helps, towards the workers, towards the laborers, and that really I find it so endearing. No matter how tired she will be or exhausted when she's standing at the elevator waiting for the lift to come, she will not forget to say hello, namaste, bhaiya. She'll not forget to do that. And even to the maids and in my house, she'll always come and do that small talk chat with them, or didi kaise hain. So I haven't specifically taught her this, but it really I feel really very proud about that. We grew up in a family where our cook, we used to call our cook Babaji, and he had literally raised my father. So all of us used to give him tremendous respect. And somehow this is, gone down to the children, and it gives me. So this is one quality that I'm really proud of.
That's very nice and very, very commendable also, because today's in the busy world, many of the children just miss this out very, very. And it is so nice that they have picked it up without you telling. That's a very important thing which we tell in parenting, that modeling is a very important aspect in parenting. Many of the times we give them instructions or tell them to do, but here without an instruction your daughter has picked it up. Definitely she has seen somewhere around in the family somebody doing like that, and that's what she's picked up. So very good, fantastic one. And I would like to understand the other aspects which you said, that they do not lie and all those things. Did you inculcate something? Any incident happened in the childhood which really triggered this habit in them, if you can share?
Yes, actually, it has. I'm sure it has come from us, that both of us are very particular about not lying, and even if it means being in a spot or being uncomfortable. So there have been instances, like for instance, she would miss her school bus, and because she's not very, prompt in getting ready on time. So twice it happened, and then we would drop her to school. So once when she missed her school bus, and I said, now I'm not going to drop you to school because I warned you 3 times. So she said, then what will you write in the diary that I missed? Why did I miss school? So I wrote in the diary that to the teacher, because we had to write why did the child not come.
Yeah, I remember.
So I wrote in the diary that Anukriti missed because despite repeated reminders, she was unable to keep time. So, and the teacher, in fact, actually called me, and we had a discussion in the PTM next time. that we met. And she said, I appreciate your honesty. And then of course, we had a long chat about how we can help Anukriti in being a little more time conscious about time management.
Definitely, this incident, the child would have observed through her subconscious mind and picked up, that how my mom is being so vulnerable in sharing the true fact of why she missed the school. And I'm sure these are things children pick up, which we don't
we
realize.
practice it on a daily basis. I think that's how it's come in their DNA now.
That's interesting. While you were bringing your children up, Prakriti, was there any particular parenting philosophy or approach which you and your husband had when it got evolved as they grew?
See, parenting or raising children is the most important jobs right now. Or what, unfortunately, we have no idea. We are not trained in this. I always say that it's the most important profession, and for every profession, there is some amount of training that goes. But this is the only profession where we just stumble into parenthood with zero training. So,
Exactly.
likewise, I was also one of those mothers and who had no idea of what to expect, and save all the gyan that we get from the elders when you are becoming a new parent and like that. So, but somehow, one important thing which was which was there on my mind was that I want a deep emotional connect with my child.
Right.
And I realized, so the small thing that an experiment that I did was that I was told that when Anukriti came in my life as an infant, I was told that infants start smiling only when they turn, say, 2.5, 3 months. Definitely not before 2.5 months. And so I wanted to experiment and see that how can I make my child smile faster. So what I did was, if you notice infants, they have that shifting eyeballs. They'll keep moving. Their eyeballs keep moving from here and there. Okay, one side of the room to
Yeah, that's true.
after a point of time, they become stable. It's stable. So every time that her eyes, I would meet mine, I would smile. I would give her a smile. So she would just keep doing this, and suddenly she would notice that somebody is there who's always there, pasted with a pasted smile. And then, sure enough, when she was just not even 1.5 months old, and then I could see that it just became a little stable, and then there was a faint smile on it. That was such a big victory for me that I managed to make my 1-month-old infant smile. I felt that you can create that emotional connect, and that is how we evolved. We developed this philosophy that you now of course it was not so etched as a philosophy back then. I just wanted to connect, but yes, building that connection, that emotional connection with our children is very important for both of us, my husband and me, both of us. So we have these lyrics, these songs that we create for them, which we sing for them, which we've been singing for them ever since they were infants. Well, making them sleep, or even now when I go to wake up my son, I have these silly songs.
Can you share 3-4 lines for us, Prakriti, for the audience here?
Oh my God, this is so funny. Like it starts off with look at beautiful mama, rise and shine. This will make you beautiful. Open your eyes and look at mama, and so, and there are these in my in Hindi we sing this, and Papa. Then my husband would sing Papa ka babu hai, small baby hai, something like that. And I would sing like, don't cry, baby, don't you cry. Mama loves you and Papa too.
On the spot music composers get prepared.
So we used to, and now the children are so used to this, even when we wish them good night. So there is the three, 4 lines that we say. So if we don't say that, then even my 25-year-old daughter will like, I didn't hear the last line. So
It's
this
very
is
unique. I'm hearing for the first time a parent, singing songs and waking the child. Wow. I mean, baby is fine, but even an adult, I'm sure your children are grown ups, right? Your son is how old?
he's 17, but even he's so used to that. And I'll
Yeah.
come to the other part that we do is that we are a hugging family.
Okay.
They had and we hug.
मुन्ना भाई की झपकी.
क्या बस मुन्ना भाई एमबीबीएस की जादू की झप्पी जो है ना, वो तो हमने बहुत पहले से वो हमने इनकलकेट किया हुआ है,
Okay.
इम्प्लीमेंट किया हुआ है.
So खुशी हो या गम हो, झपकी is the
झप्पी
trait.
But there are all
Very
kinds of
nice.
hugs. There's the scared hugs, good morning hugs, good night and welcome hugs. वो सब तो है ही है. But there are these, group hugs, family hugs. When my husband
Aw,
is going on a
that's
tour,
very cute.
then all of us just hug together. Then there are times when we have scared hugs also. When we are scared also. In COVID times, we used to hug each other, hold each other. Then when we lose somebody, then there's that then also. So there are lots of hugs in our
Very
family.
good, very good. And that's something very first time I'm hearing this. I mean, but actually, scientifically also they say that when you hug somebody, there's a lot of happy hormones which passes
True,
through our
true.
body. So this is a very big healer in some form. That's
Yes,
great. Every day you're out experiencing the dose of dopamine.
yes. All
All
the happy
right.
hormones.
Okay. Now, let me ask you, were there any particular habits or routines, Prakriti, that you instilled in your child from a very young age that you believe has contributed to their success? If you can remember any of those.
See, success and failures are like part and parcel of our lives. And I think failure, I wouldn't say these are temporary setbacks. I have a thing about calling it failure. And unfortunately, today we are, as parents or elders, I mean, we are preparing our children for success all the time. And I feel that we're not preparing them for setbacks, for failures, for rejections. And that's equally important. Probably that's the reason why there is our children are unable to handle any kind of setback or rejection. And that's why, as a journalist mother in the newsroom, I realized that we are racing to provide everything to our children. Every material comfort that we are providing in terms of best of education, clothing, branded clothing, and food and everything, entertainment, gadgets. But there is something that is causing our children to be the most restless, more anxious and depressive and aggressive generation. And probably because we're not raising them to be, strong from inside.
True.
So success is something, I think success is it's a relative term, I would say.
Yeah.
But having said that, to answer your question straight away, I think the small habit that both of us have instilled in our children is bowing in front of the temple, or just paying the respect to the Lord before leaving the house or before anything significant. And that is something that we practice ourselves, and that's what the children have also been doing. And I think that has gone a long way in keeping them, even making them feel safe even when they are away from the parents. Because whatever said and done, we as parents, no matter how much we want to be by the side of our children whenever they're going through a low phase, or when they are feeling defeated, but we may not be around them.
Correct.
So we have to give them that kind of a powerhouse that they can lean on to. And that is where the spiritual grounding goes a long way, where they can lean on this powerhouse in moments of stress or distress. And this is something which specifically my daughter practices, and it's given her immense inner strength to face a lot of ups and downs in life. And I wouldn't say success, I don't know, because success, how would you know that it's they've been successful? Because there are times when they're down also.
True.
So this is what I think is very important that we as parents need to focus on.
And that reminds me something which even we do as a family, and I can connect with you so well, Prakriti. You said a very beautiful thing that even if we parents want to, we cannot be at their side every time.
True.
So they need something to lean on. And it's not that just physically being there now, but even down the line, when we leave this world, they have to survive on their own. They should know how to do it. In our house, we have this gesture that whenever the children leave for school, or especially when they leave for their examination, we make them stand at the altar, and I and my husband, we put hand on their head and we pray. And we offer to the Lord and say that, let everything happen according to your will. Because sometimes certain successes, we don't know if it is good or bad for us in life. And certain even setbacks could be good for us. We don't know, because the wisdom which we have is limited in front of the Almighty's wisdom. So let it happen according to their will, and let's give in. And when the moment you do that, the stress and the tension of the children also go up. They're like, okay,
Exactly.
ab de diya.
And this is very important to make our children God loving
Yeah.
instead of God fearing.
Yeah, that's true. There's a difference in both. And I
Yeah.
think it's very,
That's
very thin
the
line, but
world
we
of
have to make
difference
conscious.
between when they're God fearing, then they will be they will not feel comfortable talking to surrendering to God. But only when there is surrender, when there is love, only then do you surrender.
Then they surrender.
So when they feel this kind of love for the Almighty, for their Creator, that's when they'll also share their dukkha, their distress, and they will derive that strength. So
True,
that
true,
is the
true.
intention.
Yeah, very interesting. I had another thought also. While you were bringing up your children, did you emphasize specifically, Prakriti, on anything like academics, extracurricular activities, or personal development? How do you balance these priorities, if you could share?
So I come from a musical family, as in my
Uh-huh.
mother. She was a folk singer. Now she's no more, but she was a
Mm.
folk singer of Bihar, and she played 9 instruments. And
Wow.
she set up a music school, and
Okay.
the three of us, we three daughters, so we learned Hindustani classical dance and vocal music and sitar.
Wow.
And but my father, although he supported her wholeheartedly and
Huh?
encouraged us
Uh-huh.
in our journey as dancers and all that, but he was very clear that academics is what is going to see us through in life.
Okay.
So that was the grounding. And then when I got married, my husband, he comes from a family where academics is the main thing, there with no distractions. So he was a complete bookworm. But he realized that he missed out on a lot of things in his life, in college life, in school life, because
Mhm.
of not being able to or not indulging in his these extracurriculars.
Yeah.
So, of course, he was into quizzing, but nothing else. So, both of us, between us, we were very clear that, we have
Okay.
to balance
Yeah.
academics, extracurriculars, and of course, self development went hand in hand. So, that's how my
Oh,
daughter,
my daughter.
she is an Odissi dancer. She started learning when she was 8, and today she is a professional Odissi dancer,
Oh.
and she's also a writer. Currently, she's a teaching fellow at the Ashoka University.
Yeah, that's nice. And
And
even your son, I think, plays a musical instrument,
yeah,
right?
yeah. So he is preparing for his board exams, but I'm very particular that every Friday he has to, I mean, of the online classes only, he plays the keyboard. So he
That's
attends
nice.
the keyboard classes as well. He's
Very.
also into drawing.
Mhm.
He's very good at sketching. So we
Okay.
encourage him to do
So
that.
there's a perfect balance you have
Yeah,
maintained.
it is very
It,
important. Otherwise, you are a spent force, and
that's
and
true.
you become a bore also, I think.
That's very true. All right. So, Prakriti, the next question which I want to ask you is were there any moments of failure or setbacks in your child's journey, especially during the teenage phase? And how did you help them as parents so that you could build resilience in them?
So teenage years are tumultuous years. Everything is big, about takes big
True.
proportions. Whether it's the tiff, whether it is their emotions, their meltdowns, their likes, dislikes. Everything is huge, and it takes a lot of effort and patience on the part of parents also to evolve and gradually to be able to handle these
Mhm.
exalted emotions. So
Sure.
I remember once in the girl was 15, so she went to a girls' school and she had a close group of 4 friends.
Mhm.
And apparently, she had a fallout with 2 of those friends,
Mhm.
and she had a major meltdown, as in she wouldn't stop crying and she stopped eating. Initially, I thought that
Mhm.
okay, I could sense that there is something going on between the
Mhm.
friends. And for me,
Mhm.
it seemed so trivial. I mean, in the back of my mind, I thought, oh, it's not something to do with a boy, so it's all right. I mean, girls only fighting amongst them. What's such a big thing about it? But it's for an adult, it may not be a big thing. But for a 15-year-old, it was huge. And
Okay.
for her, the world had come crashing down. And so this is what now we as adults we think that the things that
Mm.
are concerning or affecting our children are very small and trivial. But I realized when she completely shut down, that's when I dropped everything and dropped my everything that was at hand, including my irritation or my notions about, why is my child behaving like this? And I sat
Mm.
her down. And of course, initially she was like, I don't want to talk and I don't want to speak to you and all that.
Mhm.
But after a while, when the household had gone off to sleep, and then the 2 of us sat down and she started sharing and taking it out. And then you won't believe, we kept talking, crying, hugging till 4 in the morning.
Oh.
And I realized that there was so much of pain, so much of fear, so much of anger, anguish, and uncertainty in this 15-year-old girl, which I needed to address. And what if I hadn't sat down with her? And
Mhm.
in the morning, it was like I used to wake up at 5 o'clock, my morning alarm would go off, and there was only 1 hour left. That's when she hugged me, and amidst her tears, she said, Ma, I wish all my friends had you as them.
Oh, so sweet.
Till date, that's the biggest and the best compliment I've ever received. And actually, from that day, I started writing about I don't know about parent-child relationship. I started writing a column for the Times of India on parenting of teenagers, and eventually, of course,
Wonderful.
photo.
Wonderful. That's very nice and very very true. No, that sometimes we parents we use our own wisdom to deliberate whether this is a big thing or a small
A
thing.
small thing, yeah.
And you rightly said something which will look trivial for us will be something very very big, and the whole life or world will be revolving for the child around that.
Might be
It could
earth
be a small
shattering
thing.
for them. Yeah, earth shattering for them. So that
That's
we need to go there and address their problem at that point of time. And it's very
yeah.
crucial.
Yeah, like today I heard a discussion where, one of the coaches was saying that we talk about heartaches and we think that, maybe a crush which is broken or something else serious is heartache. But for a small child, even if her pencil point breaks, it's a heartache for her. Because that moment for her when she's engrossed in writing something beautiful, if a pencil point breaks for she,
Breaks
it's
her.
like, how
Breaks
did
her.
it happen? So for us to understand them, we have to actually get into their shoes and in that situation and at their level to figure out how important, relevant that small thing is before we respond back to them as parents. It's very, very profound and great. All right. With this, we conclude and we go to the final question, Prakriti. So while we conclude, I would ask you, is there any specific advice you would like to give to all the millennial parents today who are handing the, Gen Zs and Alphas of future generation?
Yes, yes, certainly. So just demonstrate your love to your children in multiple ways. And how do
Mhm.
you do that? You not just by hugging them, which you must. I think, like I've shared, that hugging your children is very important. But also when you prioritize your children and show them that they are more important than your work, than your gadgets, than your socializing or your social media or anything. And we have a very small window of opportunity to connect with our children. Now,
Mhm.
later on, when you have the time, then the children would have outgrown you.
True.
Then they wouldn't have the time. So, hey, demonstrate your love in no uncertain terms to your children. And the second important advice is uh, be the person that you want your child to be. I know role modeling, and this sounds such a cliche term, but
Mhm.
yes, the children learn more from what we do than what we tell them to do.
Completely
So
agree.
I think I
Completely.
have seen that in my case in a big, big way. And this is what. And the third important thing that I would say is that, conflicts and disagreements are going to be, they are a big reality in every household. Now, the
Mhm.
important thing is, how do you handle disagreements and conflicts? So we need to diffuse the tension instead of escalating the tension. So many times the children will be throwing a fit of anger and all kinds of unreasonably. But at that point of time, how do we conduct ourselves? That is very crucial. And the focus should be on diffusing the conflict, diffusing the tension, and
Yeah.
of course, creating a happier atmosphere, a family atmosphere like that.
Very well said, and very, very great wisdom of values and nuggets you have shared, Prakriti, and very true. And especially when it comes to this point which you shared, that when there are small things which you feel like getting upset on children, it's there's a great saying which says that, do you think all battles are required to be fought? Think about it. Sometimes your children will be arguing on something very small, and if it's not something great, don't argue. Just let it pass it off. Only if something serious and which it causes them harm, you may want to really argue with them and get into a negotiation. Otherwise, just let it pass. It's
Yes,
okay.
definitely.
Not
So
all
pick
fights
your
are worth it.
battles wisely to win the
Wise.
war.
That's true. That's true. So very well said, and so many things we have experienced and learned from your experience, Prakriti. And I'm sure many parents will be inspired by listening to your story. And I'm sure somewhere at some corner of the world, some parent would be inspired by your story and do something different in their parenting style. And that's what we are out here in our parenting diaries, where we bring in so many wisdom from different parents of multiple facets of life. And I really would request all the subscribers to keep continuing watching our channels and share it with your friends and relatives so that many parents can get value from such lovely wisdom which we get. All right. Thank you once again, Prakriti, for joining us and your valuable insights and time. Take care. Thank
Thank
you.
you so much. God bless you.